It's Wednesday, January 18th. Here's your 5-minute fix. All right, first story we have for you today. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, a done deal for long-awaited fight in February. Now, first things first, this is not by any means confirmation that this fight is going down, okay? Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury is reportedly a done deal according to MMA reporter Ariel Helwani, with the rivals set to clash at the end of February. Now, I know that at some point last year they were supposed to fight and then somebody backed out or there was an injury, something like that, contract dispute. I'm sure we'll talk about some of that here in this story. Ever since Jake Paul ended his boxing hiatus, there has only been one fight that fans have wanted to see: him versus Tommy Fury. The longtime rivals were scheduled to fight back in August, but travel troubles prevented Tommy and his team from getting into the United States. At that point, Jake said he was moving on and looking for other opponents. Jake fought and defeated Anderson the Spider Silva back in October. A little bit of a sham, that fight, I'd say, but I digress. And despite penning a deal to join the MMA ranks of the PFL, he's been talking about another fight in the boxing ring first. That, it seems, will be against Fury. Jake Paul versus... Okay. So, according to MMA journalist Ariel Helwani, who claimed the fight is a done deal and will be happening on February 25th, Helwani has not confirmed if the fight will be in the United Kingdom, which is what Jake was offering previously, or in Saudi Arabia, as been previously rumored. So, I guess that's probably one of the main stipulations, is the location of the fight. And you know what? I'll give props to Mr. Jake Paul here for being willing to go all the way over to the United Kingdom for this fight, even though we all know the money the pay-per-view will bring in, as well as just the fans it will attract, are based in the United States. Now, that's not to say that there aren't many fans of Jake Paul, or maybe just boxing in general, in the United Kingdom. I'd say for an American fighter overall, pretty astonishing that he's willing to, take this fight overseas. As of writing, there's been no announcement from either Jake or Tommy's camps, but Helwani's information is usually pretty impeachable. And it just shows example of the tweet: Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury is a done deal for February 25th per sources. I love when insiders say per sources. Obviously, I'm not expecting them to give up their source. I just find it very, very entertaining or interesting. It's funny to me. Anyways, Jake's boxing coach, BJ Flores, previously stated that he would be fighting on February 18th, but that has obviously changed now. The problem child has recently posted pictures of himself back in training for a fight, so it's clear he's gearing up for something. Well, yeah, obviously, I mean, if he's training for boxing or whatever it may be, some mixed martial arts, obviously something's coming up. So, like I said, as per Ariel Helwani, he says it's going down. So I guess only time will tell. We're about a month and 10 days off from that date. A month and 8 days off from that date, if you want to get particular. 7 days, whatever. So it'll come up quick. It'll come up fast. Continuing with fighting news, Francis Ngannou details failed contract negotiations with UFC. Now, if you are a UFC fan at all, or mixed martial arts fan at all, you'll know that John Bones Jones is set to face Cyril Gane, I want to say in March, a UFC in March. Anyways, for a shot at the heavyweight title. That's right. We're not talking light heavyweight. That's right. John Jones, arguably the greatest light heavyweight of all time in the UFC, is bumping up to heavyweight. If you follow him on social media, you'll see he's been doing a lot of training, a lot of weight gaining, to make sure fighting in the heavyweight division is viable for him. So, everybody wants to see that super fight, him versus Francis. We'll see him versus John Jones versus Cyril Gane first. And I guess that might be a good measure, as Cyril Gane lost to Francis. So we'll see how that goes. But back to Francis. During an appearance on the MMA Hour on Tuesday, Ngannou broke his silence on why contract negotiations fell apart with the UFC, which led him to relinquish the heavyweight title and entering free agency. According to The Predator, he asked for several stipulations that proved to be a sticking point for the Las Vegas-based promotion, This included the ability to negotiate with outside sponsors, health insurance, and having a fighter advocate during negotiations with the UFC. Now, anybody looking at this would be like, you know what? Those are some pretty reasonable terms. I have to say myself, those seem like some pretty reasonable terms. Now, I know prior to the Reebok deal, fighters were able to bring in their own sponsors, which was great because they didn't get paid a lot of money from the UFC for some of these fights. And even to this day now, with Reebok as the main sponsor, they're not allowed to put their own stuff on their shorts, that kind of thing. So, I mean, this is all he wants. All that he is asking for is for fighters to be able to bring in another source of income, essentially, outside of what they're being paid by the UFC. So, yeah, in my eyes, right off the hop, I don't see this as a bad thing. What I've learned is you don't go to the table of negotiation expecting to have everything you want, but at least you want your partner, the other side, to show your willingness or to at least try, Ngannou said, who also revealed that he was offered in the neighborhood of $8 million to fight John Jones at UFC 285. Wow, that is a pretty decent payday for these guys. I mean, obviously that pay-per-view would sell a booty ton. The arena would be sold out. I imagine they'd have that fight in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. But yeah, I'd say that's a pretty nice payday. So the fact that he's willing to give that up for the sake of everybody else just shows you what kind of person he is. I asked for a lot of things, which doesn't mean I was expecting all of those things, he continued. I was expecting at least one or two of those things. I asked for the right of sponsorship, which we've been reaped of. We can't have sponsorship. I asked for health insurance. I couldn't have it. I asked for a fighter advocate, somebody in the board meeting who will advocate for the fighters. I asked for that. I couldn't have those things that I asked for. I just wanted them to know that there is something that I do want. I also wanted them to think about that, at least in consideration. So it seems like, probably pretty frustrating going into those negotiations to not even have your ideas or thoughts or anything that you want considered. So in an ideal world, Ngannou wanted a 3-fight contract with the UFC, and he would then pursue professional boxing fights against the likes of Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. But the promotion was not interested in allowing him to pursue those other endeavors. You know, greedy, they want that money. In that contract, I'm not free, Ngannou said. I'm not an independent contractor. I have no rights. I hand over all the power to you guys. I've seen in the past how you guys can utilize your power against me, and I don't want that. When Dana White announced that Ngannou was a free agent over the weekend, the UFC president attributed the heavyweight's exit to a desire to face lesser opponents. Ooh. White also claimed that Ngannou weighed more than 300 pounds and was struggling during his recovery from knee surgery. Ngannou, who said he's closer to 275 pounds, brushed it off as sour grapes. Now, here we go. And then you get into this battle of he said, she said, they said. It's hard to tell, you know. I don't believe in this situation the fighter is going to exaggerate how things went. I'd say in this situation, some people might say, oh, Ngannou's got everything to lose, but I think in this situation, the UFC's got everything to use, as per, you know, what Dana White had said about the contract negotiations. You know, Dana White can be a brash individual, and it wouldn't surprise me that he would go out there and, you know, embellish some of the things that were said. So, like I said, interesting to see. I guess we'll see in the future if he does end up getting the fight with Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. That would be very interesting. I know a lot of people want to see that. That'd be a pretty cool crossover. So we'll see how that goes. In other news, it looks like Greta Thunberg has gotten herself into a little bit of trouble. Greta Thunberg carried off by police during protests in German village. Now, as we watch this video, okay, as we watch this, take a look at the surroundings. I have a feeling this might be the same protest in which the Mud Wizard from a previous video was antagonizing the police in Germany when they were getting stuck in the mud. I truly do believe that. I truly do. But anyways, you know, she's out there doing her environmental advocacy things, whatever you want to call it. Climate activist Greta Thunberg was detained by police at an environmental protest in Germany, authorities said on Tuesday. Thunberg, 20, was seen being carried away via her arms and legs by officers while participating in demonstrations this week in Lützerath. I know I didn't pronounce that correctly, but let's move on. A small village owned by utility firm RWE, Sky News reported. The hamlet became a hotbed for Germany's climate debate after it was cleared to make way for the expansion of the Garzweiler, I don't even know, coal mine. According to a spokesperson for the Aachen police force, Thunberg was part of a group of protesters who stormed to the steep and extremely dangerous edge of an open case mine. Officers confirmed that the activist was subsequently carried away and is being held with other protesters for identification. No one has been arrested. So, you know, out there trying to do her thing, trying to protect the environment, you know, good for her, to each their own. It appears the police were just trying to, from their statement, we're just trying to ensure that nobody got hurt. There's a open mine. You don't want to fall down there. It could be very dangerous, maybe even fatal. And that's the last thing they want to see is people die. So the Tuesday detainment marks Thunberg's second run-in with authorities since she joined the protests on Saturday. Images from the demonstration show the Swedish native being held by police clad in tactical gear. In another image, Thunberg flashes a thumbs up from inside a bus. Thunberg's detainment comes as Germany's long-running debate about coal use has reached a fever pitch thanks to the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. So there you have it. Greta doing a damn thing, you know, whether it's right or wrong, that's not for me to decide. But if you want to comment that, throw it down below. Dr. Dre successfully blocks Marjorie Taylor Greene from using his music. The far-right Republican congresswoman was served with a cease and desist letter after she soundtracked a promotional video with his 1999 hit, Still DRE. What a great track it is, ladies and gentlemen. You can bump that today and everybody's going to be like, damn, what is this? Dr. Dre's statement, I don't license my music to politicians, especially someone as divisive and hateful as this one. Dr. Dre in London in November. Dr. Dre has successfully blocked Republican Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene from using his music in any context to do with her political career after she used his 1999 hit Still DRE to soundtrack a promotional video. In the nearly 2-minute video posted on January 9th with the caption, "It's time to begin, and they can't stop what's coming," the far-right Georgia lawmaker walks out of her office in slow motion to the familiar first notes of the song, which features Snoop Dogg. Billboard reports that Greene's lawyers formally acknowledged the cease and desist letter sent by the musician's lawyer, Howard E. King, on January 9th, but did not acknowledge any wrongdoing. On behalf of Congresswoman Greene, please be advised that no further use of Mr. Young's copyright will be made by a political committee or via social media outlets she controls, it said. Lawyers for Greene said that the response should not be perceived as an admission of any fact or waiver of any rights or defenses, anticipating the possibility that Dre might proceed with a lawsuit against Greene. King's original letter accused Greene of wrongfully exploiting Still DRE through the various social media outlets to promote her divisive and hateful political agenda. It continued, the United States Copyright Act has a lot of things, but one of the things it says that you can't use someone else's song for your political campaign promotions unless you get permission from the owner of the copyright in the song, a step you failed to take. On the 10th of January, Dr. Dre told TMZ, I don't license my music. Hold on, let me try that again. On January 10th, Dre told TMZ, I don't license my music to politicians, especially someone as divisive and hateful as this one. So there you have it. Dr. Dre going to the courts, getting the dub. That's what we like to see. Last one for today. We got a funny. There was an attempt. This is from r/there was an attempt. And this one says, to impress everyone with his seafood boil. All right, so here we go. First things first. Why the hell is this man? Why are these girls sitting over here? Why is this man just using bare ass, dirty, ink-filled newspaper? Man's dropping corn all over the floor. Oh, another one. Oh, he's grabbing the other set of tongs. He's got the metal tongs now, pulling out lobsters, pieces of corn. Again, men, put some plastic down on the table or something. You can't be just pulling this out, pulling it all over the dirty newspaper. Ooh, he says, ooh, DJ Khaled. Oh, there you go. Hold up. He says, hold up. Hang tight.
Can you hang tight for me? Hang tight. Eat up.
Eat up. I found that entertaining. Thanks for watching. Got any suggestions? Throw them down in the comments below. This has been your 5-minute fix.